each of you, like what's the theme here? What do you see common between all of this?
One word that comes up for me is flow. I mean, just coming through, we've got towards and away, prioritizing intention, boundary and energy, fluid and fixed. It's just like this,
Mm.
yeah, this flow, this dance between work and life balance that's ongoing, and ever changing. What about you
I,
guys?
what I like about what you just said there, Clive, is the sense of permission that it's not something we should expect, that we should always be getting right all of the time and punish ourselves from the moments we don't. There is like this natural movement to it.
Mm, yeah.
That permission. For me, the theme that comes up for me is self-awareness. Being aware in a moment or a moment of reflection as to where you are compared to everything else in the system.
So it's
Can I
creating, yeah, go on.
I was just going to say that really resonated with me because there's a feast or famine in terms of self-employed work, but I need a kind of self-awareness that, you know, if I've had a really hectic week, then I actually build in that time to rest and see people. So you know, it's when the word that Moon brought up, the whole thing about intention, really comes into play.
Nice.
Funny for me, the word that came up was tension. So it's almost like it's that pull of both. And so for me, I'm conscious of the flow, but actually it's more of a tension between getting enough or not enough, too little, too much.
And I like that acknowledgement, Kate, because like tension is a characteristic in the system. Like there is always tension. And if you sense it or feel it and perceive it, it's real and it's there. It's not that you're doing something wrong. It's just part of life. Sorry, Moon. Looked like you were leaning forward.
Um, I love all of those. I love the pictures of the flow. And when I think about every day and lives, there's always this image about ocean that comes into my mind. But also more and more, Duncan, you talk about choice. I think it is a choice. We are sometimes making choice unconsciously. So we felt like this is when we tend to feel overwhelmed because we are not aware how we are making those choices. So when you feel an imbalance, perhaps it's really good to check in, you know, how am I making those choices? Do I have to do that? So yeah, choice is the word I'm choosing. I'm following your words.
And I'm smiling, Moon, because as you said that, I dropped into my own head and I found myself thinking about all the times I choose to go back and poll my inbox to check for an email in case something's come in that I need to respond to. When I choose to go and look at LinkedIn to see if there's any engagement I should reply to. And I keep choosing to go back there and there's nothing to do apart from suck my time. So it's like choosing better.
So what that makes me then think, Duncan, from what you just said, going back to sort of like for me, that tension bit is between what I need and what I want. So what do I need to do to make me feel as if I'm in control, that I'm organized, that I'm on top of things, versus what actually do I want? What do I really, really want? And sometimes when I stop and ask, what do I really want? Instead of checking my email, it might be actually what I want is to go around the garden, or what I want is to actually sit on the sofa and put my feet up for 5 minutes. And so that's that sort of like difference tension for me, is that want versus need.
And I think this is a beautiful segue, Kate. When we, as coaches, we talk a lot about permissions, you know, allowance, you know, do we allow ourselves to put our feet up for 5 minutes? Do we allow ourselves to take a break from the internet and the social media? A lot of the time, I do feel like some of these things that we do are quite compulsory because we have to check LinkedIn. We have to, you know, make sure that everything is shipshape. But at the same time, when we are making those choices, what are we neglecting? You know, are we ignoring other things that is also happening? So yeah, I love this.
Or to play the other side, we allow ourselves too much time on the couch. Not
Yeah.
time, and too much the other way. To play a
Procrastination
double-edged
and the
sword.
avoidance.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Something as this is always this has been a massive theme in my practice for the last few years, boundaries as a way of helping to control, the garden that's out of control in terms of balance. And two things for me I always think is fascinating is, one, the historical piece in terms of back where we've come from in terms of the village. Because when we were at home, we were in our huts or our caves or wherever we were, and our work was outside in terms of the field and the crops. And then, and how our field and our crops may have gone further away in terms of commute, but now they've come into the house in terms of the devices. So it's all gone upside down. And then also the prescribed industrial revolution in terms of the hard boundaries, working 9 to 5. And then how, particularly with the evolution of technology and work change flow, how things aren't necessarily so much like now, or maybe some still are that way, and that's not quite working with the way work is shifting. So I don't really know what I'm saying there, but that's just
Yeah.
It's multifaceted, and it's about, for me, it comes back to finding my boundaries with these things, and where do I want to put my fences to have a healthy, conscious relationship with, and those fences I might move at any point as well.
So Clive, what I heard there is that historic boundaries. So in the society, what we have always learnt and been part of, and again, I think since COVID, where people have worked from home and work is far more fluid, we are having to shift those posts and decide, or work decides partly what that should look like, and sometimes we as individuals go, actually, I'm going to move it slightly forward or further back. But most of us have defaulted to where it always has been, rather than what do we need it to be right now. Some of those conversations are happening at work. How is your work schedule best for you? What's going to work best for you in terms of things at home? Joan, you were mentioning, your work's all around you. What can work do to support you that? When you're self-employed, it's you're your boss. What can you do to support yourself on that? So boundaries is a really good one that we need to stop and ask ourselves, what is helping us and what's hindering us?
Yeah. And not to mention, aside from the historical boundary, also there's a cultural element in the way that we do things, in the way that we choose our careers and our partners, and the way that we live. This just reminds me that coming from China, that's my background. I grew up in China. I don't ever remember people have lots of hobbies, and in summer in Europe, it's really fantastic. People go to beer garden, enjoy a very, kind of late night, and it's still really light outside. You can have a drink with friends, and there's a lot of enjoyment in the life, but I don't remember seeing that in my parents and the people around me. People just tend to work all the time, just work. And then at the weekend, there's more work. So maybe for some of them, there's no awareness of balance, because it's always been, so consuming. Work has been just everything they have. So when you come from that kind of background, sometimes it's maybe a little bit harder to kind of adjust to that and go, I can spend time in the garden, I can allow myself to take a walk, and I should go to nature, go to the park. And I'm wondering, whether that resonates with you guys. Have you noticed this? When you come from a specific family or backgrounds or cultures, you tend to value work more than anything else.